brush away the concern that the students have, their family has, despite the fact that they've not got much support in the Supreme Court. What do you think, is it right or wrong on their part to be expressing these concerns?
I think they're totally justified. In fact, Sanket, I've actually been tagged on many of these requests for more than a couple of weeks now. Many of the students have reached out to me. I had actually taken up a similar issue in Kerala and called the chief minister there on that occasion. And on one matter, the examinations for the Kerala Technological University, he very kindly agreed to postpone them. But unfortunately, there is a thing called the KEAM, the Kerala Engineering Examinations, which are similar to the JEE, and they went ahead with them, creating a disaster. First of all, social distancing is very difficult to maintain in a country where our numbers in relation to the availability of exam centers are so few. Secondly, these are young kids just passing out of class 12. Parents will be bound to accompany them. There was inevitably huge crowding outside the centers. And as a result, a number of students who took the KEAM examinations ended up getting COVID. Now, it's actually a factual thing. It's out there on the record. And I pointed out that if only they had listened to our request to postpone the exams, we could have avoided a major horror. Now, what we're looking at with NEET JEE is a much larger catchment pool. You're talking about 26 lakh students, probably, who would have to take these examinations. Many are not anywhere near their centers because during the lockdown, they've gone home or they're with their families. Very many of them are in positions where it's not convenient for them to come back. Many have not been able to study in the normal way because of the artificial circumstances of the lockdown, the unavailability of materials, etc. In all of these circumstances, these are far from being the ideal circumstances to take the examinations. And as a result, these are actually not going to be an accurate gauge anymore of the talent, academic capability, or even the sort of state of mind of our young people who are sitting for these crucial, life-changing examinations. I think it's a very unfortunate thing that the government has decided to go ahead with it. They're, of course, being ruled by the academic calendar and the convenience of the system.
I wanted to ask you this question, Dr. Tharoor. The government on its part says, and people who actually advocate for these examinations say, you can't waste an academic year. I want to ask from you, what could be the alternative, the solution?
Well, certainly a postponement. You see, the problem is that these exams have already been postponed once, Sanket, and they've been postponed when the numbers of people infected and the level of danger in the country was actually much less. So things were so bad that you couldn't actually hold the examinations with lower numbers of COVID sufferers. How is it you're going ahead when the situation is much worse in the country today? It doesn't really make any logical sense. There are two possibilities. One is to hope that COVID will pass and reschedule the examinations, let's say 2 months from now, say after Diwali, and see whether, as a result, there's a possibility that we can go ahead by then if the curve has begun to flatten. If it hasn't, we'll have to postpone them again, undoubtedly. And you'll have to telescope some of the later processes, which will put a greater onus on the administration, the invigilators, the teachers, the graders, etc. The second possibility, if all of this is not possible and COVID continues to get worse, is to create an examination that can be done at home. And for those who do not have online facilities at home, to designate a certain number of online centers where they can go, but the majority will take it at home, so you won't have all the problems of crowding and everything else.